evening. Welcome to Film Forum. We're back after one hell of a 4th of July weekend, weren't it, Aaron?
Nothing but floods, Steve.
Oh, sunshine at my house.
Sunshine at your house.
Yeah.
Where are you living these days?
I actually told someone that, and they said, really? I'm not going to say who it is because she's on People TV. But anyway, well, we got a couple new films this week.
We've got some great films.
What are we going to review tonight?
We've got I Love Trouble, and we've also got Forrest Gump.
I wonder if people actually think when I ask you what we have tonight if I really don't know.
Well, I don't know if they know.
Actually, I really don't know. Aaron tells me every night what we're going to review tonight.
Yeah, and then Steve actually comes up with a review just right off the fly of films that...
Yeah. All right, and after that we have Critic's Choice, which I guess this week, because of I Love Trouble, is a movie about journalists. We're going to tell you our favorite movies about journalists. And then, what we got, special guest?
We have a special guest tonight. Steve, we're very fortunate. We have Afemo Omilami. He is one of the actors that was in Forrest Gump.
All right, sounds like a winner. Let's get started because we've got a lot to do.
We've got a lot to do, Steve.
What do you want to start with?
I'll start with I Love Trouble.
All right.
I kind of love trouble. It stars Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte plays a veteran columnist for the Chicago Chronicle, Peter Brackett. And Peter Brackett has just finished a novel. He's got everything going for him. He's got all the girls swooning over him. And he's called out of kind of columnist retirement to go back on the beat and research a train wreck that's happened because all of the other reporters have gotten sick for the evening. Well, Peter Brackett meets Sabrina Peterson, who is a rival reporter for a rival publication. It's the Chicago Globe. He meets her on the location where the train wreck has happened. And what I'd like to do now is show you a scene from I Love Trouble.
There are 5 known fatalities.
They're not going to tell you that.
Excuse me?
How old was the car?
Good question. Don't ask me. They're not going to tell you who serviced the train.
Cars are inspected on a daily
Really?
basis.
Why is that?
Yes, they want to talk to them before you do.
Can't hurt to ask.
No. It always hurts to ask questions, you know, piss them off.
Yes, the lady in the back.
Sabrina Peterson from the Globe? Do you have the name of the individual who last serviced the train?
That information is not available at this time.
Then could you tell us?
Cynthia.
First day on the job.
No, it's not my first day on the job.
Huh? Second? Look, all I'm trying to say is that if you'd been in town any longer, I'm sure we would have met. And had I seen you, we would have. My name's Brackett. I work for the Chronicle. Where are you from, Peterson?
Look, I realize every cub reporter in the skirt must go gaga at the great Peter Brackett approaching them, but I can't believe you're trying to hit on me while I'm covering a story. So let me set you straight. You have 0 chance of scoring here. Trust me. Move on.
I'm sorry. Where'd you say you're from? Bitchville?
Okay, that's a scene from I Love Trouble, which opened up last Friday. It was directed by Charles Shire and co-written by Nancy Myers, who also produced. These people have brought us films such as Private Benjamin, as well as a lot of other films in this kind of genre. This is a romantic comedy. The two end up falling in love.
Very, very lightweight romantic comedy, action, adventure, mystery. We should lump everything in there. I think if it succeeds on any level, though, it succeeds more on the romance part. I enjoyed these characters. I found them entertaining. I found them fun to watch. I thought that the actors, Nick Nolte and Julie Roberts, worked very well together. And I enjoyed their rapport. They kind of reminded me of Han Solo and Princess Leia in Star Wars, except back then...
They hate each other first.
Yeah, they hate each other.
To like each other.
Except in this movie, they get to fall in love without the benefit of a sequel.
Well, actually, I see a television series from this. I really do. I see some sort of situation where these two work for rival newspapers and they're in love with each other and they end up scooping each other. And
I don't think the movie was that good.
I think it's good enough for a series. I really do.
You know, I enjoyed Nick Nolte. I thought his character was very charming as the egotistical reporter who is, like you said, drawn back into the reporting area. And
he's starting to recycle his columns. I mean, that's how lazy he's gotten.
And then he starts getting scooped by this newcomer, Sabrina Peterson. And they kind of become rivals, and they join up to solve this mystery, so to speak. And as far as the mystery itself, I think it's just a standard line Hollywood story. In fact, this exact same mystery was done in The Fugitive. Let's face it, this is the exact same mystery from The Fugitive. I think people thought
it is.
Yeah,
the same
medical
mystery from The Fugitive.
About the they had a chemical.
I'm just kidding.
So. So I think the writers thought that somehow this story would intrigue us or keep us held in suspense, and ultimately it just serves as a backdrop for Nick Nolte and Julie Roberts to go at it and kind of charm the audience.
And they charmed me. I liked this film. I thought it was a fun film. It was enjoyable. It was it had a lot of snappy dialogue to it.
Well, they were good. And Julie Roberts was as charming as Nick Nolte. She kind of plays a female working in a occupation that's traditionally male. So she knows that she's not going to put up with any of his crap, any of his kind of patronizing her. She's not going to let him do that. And he wants to do that because he's kind of a male chauvinist pig in a way. And
so Julia Roberts in a romantic role, yes.
Yeah, I like the characters. But like I said, the story itself is just a run-of-the-mill story. I don't think anybody making this film thought they were making an Oscar-worthy picture. And I can't imagine anybody going to the film and hating it. I can't imagine anybody really raving about it. It kind of falls under the category with me as pleasant time passing. And it's one of those movies you go to, enjoy yourself while you're there. A week later, you don't remember you saw it. And it's definitely, I think, the less money you spend on this, the better.
So you're saying a matinee?
Yeah. If I paid $6, I'd be kicking myself. But for a matinee, it's a decent film. It's a good movie for take a date or something like that.
Okay, I'm going to give this film 3 stars.
I'm going to go with 2 stars, just average to me, and that comes out to 2.5 stars on a 4-star system, which is a little bit above average, and check that out.
We want to remind everybody that we are a live call-in show. If you agree or disagree with us or have some sort of comment to make, the number here is 873-6713. Let's go on to our next feature.
All right, our next feature comes out this Friday. It's called Forrest Gump and stars Tom Hanks in the title role. Now, you've heard of people being victims of circumstances. Well, here's a guy who is a beneficiary of circumstances. His name is Forrest Gump, and he's a simpleton from Alabama who just happens to be in the right place at the right time all the time. He, quote, accidentally becomes an all-American football star for Alabama. He accidentally becomes a Vietnam War hero. He accidentally becomes a millionaire shrimp boat captain. He's credited with inspiring everything from Elvis's Wiggle to popular bumper stickers and T-shirts. He's met President Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon. But as fantastic as his life may seem to us, Forrest Gump will never be fulfilled unless he can get his lifelong childhood sweetheart to fall in love with him. We're going to take a look at a trailer from Forrest Gump, and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, thank you.
It's funny what a young man recollects.
You're the same as everybody else. You are no different.
Your boy's different.
Are you stupid or something? Mama says stupid is as stupid does. I'm Jenny. I'm Forrest Gump.
She was my most special friend. My only friend. We was together all the time. We was like peas and carrots, Jenny and I.
Run, Forrest!
Hey, stupid!
Run!
Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I can run like the wind blows.
Who in the hell is that?
And there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot. I never thought it would take me anywhere. They even put me on a thing called the All-America team, where you get to meet the President of the United States.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be an All-American?
I got it, Dave.
I believe he said he had to go pee.
Now, maybe it's just me, but college was very confusing times.
Have you ever been with a girl, Forrest?
I sit next to them in my home economics class all the time.
Have you given any thought?
All right, that's a scene from Forrest Gump, which will be coming out this Friday, and that's one of the few trailers I actually enjoy because that stimulates your curiosity about this film, and it's not misleading like many advertisements are.
Well, see, the problem with this film is somebody I know has read through all the press materials and still can't figure out what this film is about.
That's why you want to go see it. I remember I was telling a person this weekend, she goes, God, I got to see what it's about. It looks so curious, and that's what I wanted to see about it.
Yeah, so it's kind of a combination of Rain Man meets Garp.
Yeah, World According to Garp was a little bit like it. I noticed in the beginning the film opens with a feather kind of floating aimlessly through the sky, and it closes with the same feather, and it took me till the second part to realize the symbolism behind that. I think it's about life. You just kind of float along, and you never know really what's going to happen with you. No more than John Wayne Bobbitt ever expected to wake up one morning with part of his anatomy missing and subsequently end up on the cover of every newspaper in the world. He never, in his wildest imagination, dreamed that would happen.
That's a very poor example here. I mean, this guy, we're talking about this guy being fortunate in
yeah, I know, but you look at the guy. Here is a simpleton, someone he's not retarded, but he's the next closest thing. You would never expect all of these things to happen to this guy. You see him in the beginning of the film. He can't even get into elementary school, without
a couple of favors,
without his mother sleeping with the principal. So you wouldn't expect a guy to meet the president, to be a football star, to do all these things that he did, and that's what I'm saying. You never know what life has for you. His favorite saying,
life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. And that sums up the whole movie. You never know. A year from now, we could be taking Siskel and Ebert's place. You never know. And that's what the movie's about.
Does it have to take a year, though? My comments on this film was it was up and down, up and down. 1 minute there wasn't a dry eye in the house, and the next minute everybody was just laughing hysterically because this film just jerks you around. It has you crying 1 minute and has you laughing the next.
I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it was very clever. And to me, it was kind of like a parody film, kind of like Hot Shots and Airplanes, except this time around it was a parody of the 1960s and the 1970s, both the history and the pop culture. So the more you know about that time period, the more jokes you'll get. And there was one I remember. Gump was wheeling around Captain Dan, who was his crippled friend, and they were playing the theme from Midnight Cowboy, which was, what is the Glenn Campbell song?
I think so.
I'm Easy. And I thought, well, they're just playing that song, and all of a sudden they walk across the street, and a taxi cab about hits them, and Captain Dan slams his hand down. He goes, I'm walking here, and it's like, that's from Midnight Cowboy, and only those who know Midnight Cowboy would understand it. There's a lot of inside jokes, but there's plenty of jokes for other people, too, and it's kind of it's a simple person's look at the 60s and 70s.
Through the eyes of Forrest Gump.
And the only drawback I had to the film, and it's not a major one, was the casting of Tom Hanks, because we know he was kind of a distraction to me. It took a while to get used to him because he doesn't have a Southern accent. We know he's really not stupid.
But he did an excellent performance.
Oh yeah, he did.
They're even talking an Academy Award for this performance.
I don't see that. I would have rather saw a no name in this film, someone that we wouldn't know that wasn't Southern, somebody we wouldn't know that wasn't stupid. But you cast Tom Hanks, so people will go. I understand that. He does a great job in the film. And it was a minor distraction for me, but not a major one.
I really love this film. I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars.
Yes. It's one of those movies where you kind of just coast along watching it, and if it took 10 hours for this film to go along, I don't think I would have minded. I was just enjoying it. I'm going to go with 3.5 stars as well.
Okay.
That's 3.5 on our 4-star system. Check out Forrest Gump this Friday. Let's get on with the top 10 this week.
We're going to take a look at the top 10. These are the films that you paid money to see this July 4th weekend. While all the rain was flooding out all the fireworks, you went to the theaters, and this is what you paid money to see. Number 10 this week, the biggest plunge this week, down 5 notches to number 10, is The Flintstones, the adaptation of the 60s and 70s cartoon series.
Like I said, this year's first $100 million movie.
At number 9 this week, debuting at number 9, is Little Big League, the story of the Minnesota Twins owner who dies, and his grandson inherits the team and decides to run the team his own way.
Decent movie.
Decent movie. It's funny. Very funny. Number 8 this week is Baby's Day Out. We are warning you right now.
It's the worst movie ever.
If you like the Three Stooges and you like a lot of slapstick, this is the movie for you. Otherwise, stay away from it.
I like the Three Stooges, but this is just stupid.
It's a disappointing debut at number 8. So thank goodness it didn't get any higher.
Three Stooges aren't stupid.
Number 7 this week is Kevin Costner as Wyatt Earp. Falls from number 4 after only 2 weeks. At number 6 this week is Blown Away. Disappointing debut as well at number 6. This is the film with Jeff Bridges and Tommy Lee Jones. Number 5 this week is Wolf. Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer remains in the top 5 after 3 weeks of release. Number 4 this week is I Love Trouble, a film we just reviewed with Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte, debuting at number 4. Number 3 this week is Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock and Dennis Hopper. Continues to draw crowds. It's the 4th week in the top 3.
Very good.
Number 2 this week is The Shadow with Alec Baldwin.
I thought that was all right.
And Penelope Ann Miller.
Another one of those passable, pleasant time passes.
It's a superhero film, and it's good. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's the most successful new film this week. And the number one film for the second week in a row is Walt Disney's The Lion King.
And we had a big turnover in the top 10. In fact, 5 movies dropped out. Renaissance Man lasted 4 weeks, got as high as number 5. The Cowboy Way lasted 4 weeks, got as high as number 3. Maverick, one of the few films that was a hit kind of the summer, lasted 6 weeks, got as high as number 1. Getting Even with Dad lasted 2 weeks, as high as number 5. And City Slickers 2 only lasted 3 weeks.
That's disappointing.
I think that's a big disappointment. I don't think there'll be a City Slickers 3.
How are we doing nationally with those?
I'm not sure. My paper got rained out.
Paper got soggy.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get on with Critics' Choice. Like I said, every week we tell you Critics' Choice, just in case you go to the video store and don't know what type of films to get. Well, here's a few. These are our favorite journalist movies. Aaron, what are yours?
Okay, well, my number 3 film came out in 1987 and was directed by James Brooks. It's called Broadcast News. It stars William Hurt and Holly Hunter, as well as Albert Brooks, who all got Academy Award nominations for this film. This is an intelligent comedy about what happens inside the newsroom of a news station, an affiliate in Washington, D.C. The film was set and filmed on location in Washington. It was written by the director, James Brooks, and also had nominations for cinematography as well as film editing. This is a comedic satire, I guess is the easiest way to put it. Holly Hunter has an excellent performance, as well as William Hurt as the anchorman that is just a little bit dense upstairs. My number 2 film came out in 1985 and was directed by Michael Ritchie. It's called Fletch. It stars Chevy Chase. He is a undercover reporter who loves to wear disguises and who goes after a major drug ring. He wears all of these disguises and loves to come up with these one-liners and wisecracks and such. It's definitely a very funny film. It has Chevy Chase as well as Tim Matheson, Richard Libertini, Emmett Walsh, Kenneth Mars, and several other people in the cast. It's a very good film. You might want to check this one out. My number 1 film came out in 1976. It's called All the President's Men. This is directed by Alan J. Pakula. You might remember him. He also did, blanking out here, Alan J. Pakula. And the film stars Robert Redford and Jason Robards, Dustin Hoffman, and Jack Warden. Redford and Hoffman play reporters for the Washington Post, Woodward and Bernstein, who are out to investigate the Watergate break-in, which eventually leads to Richard Nixon's resignation. This film was nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, and Best Film Editing. It took home awards for Best Art Direction, Best Sound, Best Supporting Actor, as well as Best Screenplay. The film is definitely a thriller. It's worth checking out. That's
all right, and my favorite 3. Number 3 is Under Fire, which came out in 1983. Obviously stars Nick Nolte, or I guess coincidentally stars Nick Nolte. Gene Hackman and Joanna Cassidy co-star. After walling around for about 20 minutes, the film becomes a very interesting and suspenseful drama about a photojournalist who begins to lose sight of his journalistic ethics while covering the war in Nicaragua. He begins to, instead of taking photographs, he begins taking sides. The film manages to make photojournalism out to be the best job since being a rock star, but it never loses sight of the fact that its main purpose is to analyze the power of the media to influence as well as change world events. Under Fire recreates the war-torn look of Nicaragua so realistically that it's hard to believe that this is a film that received an Oscar nomination for its original musical score. My second favorite movie about journalists is All the President's Men, as Aaron was his first. It's about the Washington Post reporters who break the Watergate scandal. It was the 5th highest grossing film of 1976, took in over $30 million. And another interesting note, Carl Bernstein is married to Nora Ephron, who directed Sleepless in Seattle. Back in 1975, Bernstein and Ephron rewrote William Goldman's original script, but Robert Redford rejected it because it glamorized Bernstein beyond reason. The film won a few Academy Awards, Jason Robards for Best Supporting Actor. And my favorite movie involving a journalist is Capricorn 1, which came out in 1978. NASA discovers that the first manned flight to Mars will not work, so instead of jeopardizing the already unsteady space program, they decide to fake the mission. They actually launched the spaceship to space, but the transmissions from the astronauts are recreated on a soundstage here on Earth. And when the spaceship crashes when re-entering. The astronauts realize they can never be seen again. Elliot Gould stars as a reporter who pokes around looking for clues when he realizes that something's not up. And believe it or not, O.J. Simpson stars as one of the astronauts in here.
And he doesn't get the knife.
Yes, and there's a scene where they divvy up the survival kit. We just watched it to see who got the knife, and the main astronaut gave the knife to the other astronaut, not O.J. Simpson. So maybe the other astronaut killed his wife.
Right.
Maybe it's not O.J. Simpson.
By the way, the film that I blanked out on is Consenting Adults. That was A.J. Bakulis, right, which was filmed here in Atlanta.
And you know, in All the President's Men, they have a scene of Richard Kleindienst in there, an actual news clipping. My mother used to be his secretary when he was still a lawyer in Arizona. And I remember showing that to my mom, and she goes, "Oh my God, it's Dick Kleindienst." He used to be her old boss. Anyway, pay-per-view this week. We got Grumpy Old Men. This is what's on pay-per-view. We have Grumpy Old Men, 3 stars. And decent movie with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau as 2 feuding neighbors.
Yeah, this was the better of the old men movies, as opposed to the film
Wrestling Ernest Hemingway.
with Robert. Yeah.
Oh, that was all right. Romeo is Bleeding, which I didn't see. Aaron, you hated that one, huh?
I couldn't stand this film.
And House Party 3, which we gave 1.5 stars. And on pay-per-view this week, we have Cool Runnings, which we gave 3.5 stars. That was Walt Disney's biggest grossing film of last year. Took in about $60 million.
And it was inspired by the Jamaican, the true
Inspired
story.
by it. That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
See, My Life, we gave 3 stars. You must have given that 4 because I couldn't stand it. Excuse me, getting a glass of water there. Mirror Images, which we haven't rated yet, and RoboCop 3, which is actually a decent flick.
And was filmed here in Atlanta.
A lot better than RoboCop 2, but not like RoboCop 1, which is, I consider, a classic. And that's what's on pay-per-view. Check it out if you want to.
Each week on Film Forum, when we have our regular format, we have a special guest. Tonight, we're honored to have Afemo Omilami, who was the drill sergeant in Forrest Gump. What we'd like to do now is welcome Afemo to the show. Afemo?
Thank you, Aaron.
Great having you on.
Pleasure.
How you doing? So you're down in Forrest Gump, huh?
Yes.
And how'd you get that role?
Well, they came up here to audition, and I was one of the few people who managed to get the part. It was important to me not only just to do the part, but I'm tired of L.A. and New York people coming here and looking down on the talent we have here. Now, that's on many levels, production as well as artistic. So to me, it meant more than just getting a part. I had to let these people know we have a great talent pool here. And maybe in the future they come back and give us a higher consideration.
Well, you've worked on other films as well. I think you said you worked on The Firm.
Yes, I worked on The Firm.
Was it a cotton truck driver?
The truck driver who leaves his truck out and has an argument, and Tom Cruise jumps out the window and lands on the truck.
And you were also in
Trading Places.
Trading Places?
Trading Places.
What did you do in Trading Places?
A longshoreman. I was responsible for putting the gorilla in the cage. So when the other gorilla shows up, we're saying, "Hey, man, where did the other one come from?" So we look in there while the other gorilla is trying to make love.
So where Franken and Davis came in.
Right, exactly.
For the other gorilla.
That particular part. So it's just let's take a walk on.
So how was, did you get to actually work much with Tom Hanks? I mean, I know you were yelling at him in the film, which we'll take a look at. How was Tom Hanks working with him?
Well, this was my second time working with Tom Hanks. I spent a whole summer with him in Money Pit, and most of what I did with him ended up getting cut out because they went way over budget and behind time. So I got a chance to know him then when we did Money Pit with Shelley Long. So this time was even a screen because he kept breaking up while we're doing the scene. So it took us forever to get this thing done, and my voice was about gone at the end of the shoot. So
why don't we take a look at just to show people what he did?
Okay.
Just
it's a real quick
only
clip.
have a second.
We'll take a look at him here. Hopefully they got that ready.
What's your sole purpose in this army?
To do whatever you tell me, drill sergeant.
You're a damn genius. You are going to be a general someday, Gump.
Yes, drill sergeant!
They sent him.
All right, there he was as the drill sergeant for Forrest Gump, which will be opening this week. And we have a phone call. Caller, you're on the air.
I wanted to ask Mr. Omilami, wasn't he also in did a film with Eddie Murphy?
Right, Trading Places.
And I remember your work at the Alliance Theater. I liked it very much, and I understand that you're going to be featured in a film at the National Black Arts Festival this summer.
I have to say that is my proudest moment, is to be featured And The Sankofa is the name of the film by Haile Gerima. He's a world-renowned Ethiopian director, and who most of the world don't know about. But in the third world countries, he's like the man, and that's the centerpiece of the Black Arts Festival. And I'm very proud. It's some of my best work, and I have to say I'm most pleased about it. And I've made films since 1972, but this is the one I'm most proud of.
So when's the Black Arts Festival being held?
July 29th through August 7th.
All right,
and it's going to continue to run.
They're having part of that here at People TV, aren't they? I believe.
Right, we have them covering.
In fact, they're canceling our show for the.
They're going to cover
Black
it.
Arts.
But the film is going to run after the film, the Black Arts Festival, the Plaza right here at Ponce in North Highland.
Sounds great. So you've been working in theater long before you did movies, huh?
Well, is that how you got started?
They started together. I started in stage in 1970, and I made my first motion picture with Michael Schultz and Lois Child and Clifton Davis in 1972. So it
what was that called?
Together for Days.
Together for Days.
That was my first feature where I had a good part in it. I've started. George Horton and the Scottsboro Boys for ABC was another great moment that I enjoyed.
You've also done some In the Heat of the Night, as well as
for
some
4
I'll Fly
years.
Away.
I'll Fly Away, along with my wife, who was a regular on there, and so I'm
where are you born? Where are you from?
I'm from Petersburg, Virginia.
And where'd you get started in the arts? There or
elementary school?
Elementary school.
Yeah.
Down in there.
A little tree behind the forest.
So where was your first film?
Right here in Atlanta.
Here in Atlanta.
Yeah, we did that in 1972.
What is some of the advice that you can offer our viewers if they want to get involved in the film industry?
Go and study with the best, which is what I did. I went and I studied at Strasbourg. I studied with some of the best people. Go and study. Go and work on films with people, and don't get paid for it for a few years until you learn the craft. You have to go and study this. That's the biggest advice I can give people. They think they can just walk in and get behind a camera or start acting. It never works like that.
All right.
Okay. All right. Afemo, we're out of time.
Hey,
I
man.
want to thank you for
My
being
pleasure.
on the
It's
show.
good to be here. And Forrest Gump is a winner.
Looks like it.
Yes, indeed.
Sounds great. Be with us next week on Film Forum, and we'll have a special guest involved in the film industry. We'll have 2 feature releases and a special Critics' Choice. See you next Tuesday.